So welcome to Riding Japan, and I am not alone today. I've got a visitor. He keeps following me and I've tried to lose him, but I can't because I can't really ride well, and he's much better than me, as we noticed, which is kind of frustrating. So I'm not sure if you've seen the other video, but meet Triple Rider. We are going to do a little interview type video now. I'm going to ask him a few questions, and I'm not really sure if you know his channel or not, but apparently he's been watching me for a while. I don't know, at least a year or two.
Yeah.
How long have you been making videos?
I've only been making videos since late 2015, but and that wasn't even a whole lot to really upload. And then I found your channel probably when you started your English version. I stumbled upon it at some point and just kind of subscribed to it and just kept watching.
Yeah, I don't really remember when I did the English one, because I did the German one first. Maybe it's a year or so between.
Yeah, I can't, the timeline is kind of screwy in my head, but I remember finding the channel, and I remember envying you riding because I wanted to ride, but I missed it a lot and just wasn't ready to do it yet. But it was kind of a motivation to get my new bike set up.
So there's going to be a video about his bike. I think you can see what it is, but I want to meet the person now, and I have honestly just met him today. We've been riding for a few hours trying to find dry roads and to have a bit of a chat. So we want to talk about him, and I don't actually know him, to be honest, and I don't know much about him. Let's leave it as that. So I will ask him a question and he can decide to answer. If he doesn't want to answer, he will tell us that he doesn't want to answer, which is completely fine. I don't know, if you have some questions you can put them in the comments, I guess. Question number one: after that traffic light. You don't actually have to tell us where you live, but they know that I kind of live outside of the city center part. What can you tell us? Where do you live?
I live in pretty much central Tokyo. I pretty much live right off the Yamanote line, and
okay.
most people that know the Yamanote know that's pretty much central. So I live on the northern edge, and I've been out there. I actually lived within the Yamanote circle for about 6 years, and then I bought a place and moved outside the circle, but still close enough to it. And that's where I've been for the last, what, 5-6 years now. So
yeah, that's pretty neat. And let me think of another question. It's always the same thing. Like before, you think about what to ask and you have a million, and then in the actual video you don't remember what to ask.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
How many bikes have you owned in your whole life?
Total 4.
4. Can you name them quickly?
Well, the first 2 were Honda, probably the CBR 600, or no, was it 6? Very first bike was a CBR 600 F4i. That's the first one. Then I had a newer model of that one, and then that was my last bike before I moved to Japan. And then I had the 2015 Street Triple R, and now I have the 2018 Street Triple RS. I've ridden a multitude of bikes in between that weren't mine, but those are the 4 that I've owned.
Yeah, those don't really count, do they?
Nah.
What age did you start?
First time I stepped on any bike was when I was 10 years old.
You mean bicycle or motorcycle?
No, motorcycle. But it was a dirt
really?
bike. It was a
really?
50cc Honda dirt bike. My best friend from elementary school, his dad had 2 or 3 bikes for them to ride. We had a 125cc, we had a 50cc, and then we had a 400 Honda street bike we used to ride on the dirt tracks. That's where I first learned how to ride motorbikes.
So you have done dirt before?
Yeah, but that was ages ago.
We need to put you on the KTM.
Oh jeez.
Oh shit. Yeah, Porsche. I'm faster anyway. I'm gonna pass you in the next one and you're gonna complain about it. So if you had to pick #1 road or #1 riding experience in Japan, what would it be?
That's a tough one. It just depends on where I am, but my favorite riding spot is Shizuoka. Nagano down towards Hamamatsu, that range and that area around the Tenryugawa River.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that's usually my go-to spot most of the time. So I like going down there for a few days at a time. But I have favorite spots in Chiba and Okutama and Karizawa, places like that.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Come, Porsche boy, wake up. So yeah, so well, just from the location, I can hear that it's more like a day trip, like I usually do.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to do more than like a day trip really, and I've done so much Okutama recently. Let me think about another question. Yes, like they know, like my subscribers don't know that I don't talk about my work, and I know you don't really want to talk about your work, but what can you tell us about your work? Is there anything you can tell us?
Yeah, it's not like it's a big secret, but I work in the financial world, but that's all I can really say.
What an idiot, eh? What an idiot here.
Yeah, he's trying to show off.
Yeah.
It's still a four-wheel vehicle.
Yeah, SUV, and then Porsche SUV, so he can't even do SUV properly.
Okay, so yeah, this was my 11th consecutive year in Japan, but I've been coming to Japan for like the last 15 years. But I finally decided to settle here permanently about 11 years ago.
If you say 15 years on and off, do you have residence back home still?
Yes, I still keep the residence for like legal purposes. I still keep an address and things like that because it makes it easier to do things back home. Because of the new laws in America, it's like
yeah, I heard you have to declare tax overseas or some shit like that, no?
Well, even if you're, well, it's even more tricky than that. As long as you have a U.S. passport, you always got to pay taxes. So it doesn't matter where your residence really is, officially or unofficially, but as long as you have a U.S. passport, then any of your foreign earned income needs to be declared once well, you have to file taxes no matter what, basically. You're screwed. As long as you have a U.S. passport, you're screwed.
Yeah. Just to cut in the interview, just so you guys know, we've had a typhoon yesterday night and you can see the shit on the road. This is why we are kind of slowing down. I lost the Porsche dude. I wanted to tease him and pass him. What made you, if you say you decided to come to Japan permanently, what was the big decision?
Money. Money. Yeah. That's a silly thing to say, but I wanted some opportunity to make some bigger money.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised to hear that. I've never met a foreigner who said they make more money in Japan than they do back home.
Well, let's just say, I guess the best way to explain my situation is the fact that what I do for a living, lots of people do it in the States, but in Japan, not many people that speak English and have the same education level I do that do the same kind of job. So that I'm kind of more unique here. It's a little bit easier to command a higher salary.
So basically they're doing this a lot in America, but they're not doing this in Japan. So you're gonna be like a dildo model or something, like.
Yeah, I mean, I could now. Let's realistically let's discuss this a little further, real quickly. I could move to Singapore, I could move to Hong Kong, and I could make more money there. But I've been to both those countries for a period of time, and I didn't really like living there. I didn't like staying there for more than a few weeks at a time. So yes, I could be paid more if I moved to those countries because there's more business there, but Japan is safe, it's clean, and I enjoy the culture. And you know, I may not make as much money as the same person in Hong Kong or Singapore, but I make good money here and I'm happy. So, and being in a nice country is a benefit. So yeah, there you go.
So you mentioned the work situation a bit. How is your language? Because, you know, people ask me all the time, do you speak the language? And I'm just like, nah, I don't. I mean, I can ask really few things at the convenience store or something. You speak Japanese at work?
Yeah, I do. I don't, I'd probably say that Japanese and English split 50-50. So on some days, but some days it's more like 80% Japanese, 20% English. It just depends on what I'm doing that day. But I would say my Japanese is definitely more aligned to what I do for business, like a lot of technical terms and things like that. I am not fluent at all, but I can function in daily life, and I can, you know, I can write and read as much as I need to survive. So fluent, no. Functional, yes.
Yeah, like if you guys want to guess what he does, he told me, but I'm not going to tell you, but you can still guess. Biggest regret in Japan can be anything.
Oh, that is a very good question. Biggest regret. Okay, so it's going to sound cliche, but the biggest regret is I wish I had taken language study more seriously earlier, because my first, as I told you privately, my first couple of years in Japan were pretty rough because I really didn't speak any Japanese when I moved here, and I didn't, when I was younger, I didn't take the language second language very seriously.
And just everyone who's going to complain again, it's going to be my third language. So after he gets fluent in German, that's when he can judge my Japanese. Yeah, I think I've heard this before, and like the fact that I met my wife abroad and came here and knew her and found a job where I don't really need Japanese, I never had the motivation to do Japanese. Now that I want to teach my boy German, I'm really eager not to use the little Japanese I know at home, because I just want him to listen to my German. But I don't know, I can get by. There are very few situations where I really need it, but the whole career, job, money situation is a whole different story with or without Japanese. And I think, like, usually the foreigners that I've met, they are really divided into two categories. They speak or they don't. And I don't know, I guess I'm lazy, I'm just making excuses. But you have more opportunities, right?
Absolutely. I mean, even if you show a little initiative in the language department, people open up to you and give you more opportunities to do things. If you completely go against the grain and say, oh, I don't need to learn Japanese, oh, it's not important for my job, then
you know what I'm doing, I think.
Well, yeah, but I mean there's some people, well, it's a twofold thing, because the people that complain are sometimes the ones that don't want to have any initiative to do anything about it. You know, some people have good situations, you know, and they don't have to.
Oh, up there.
All right.
Please continue.
Sorry about that. Okay, so yes, I mean, I've met people that are totally against learning it, and just because of the principle, which is kind of silly.
Left. Fucking hell, where are we?
Are you lost?
Yeah, I am. I should have stayed on the other road. I just put the location somewhere, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And we should have stayed on the road that we were just on. Sorry about that, little detour. Sorry, I'm butchering your answer. Left, not straight. Oh my god. Go, man. I forgot the question.
Well, Japanese gives you more opportunity. So the reality is, basically, I mean, if you learn Japanese, of course it's going to offer more opportunities for you, because people can see that you're willing to work with the people here, and not just put yourself in an isolation bubble and speak English only, or whatever your native language is. If you put some effort to speak some Japanese, you're going to have more opportunities by default. But it just, I mean, even with my ability, you know, it took me a while to get to where I am, but people recognized that I was trying, and that afforded me more opportunity. So there you go.
So yeah, well, I see what you mean, but I mean, I can speak a little. I'm not at zero, but it's not carry a conversation type level. It's more like, I need this, I need this, where can I find, I'm lost, please help me, this kind of thing. And I know what you mean. I've heard a lot of foreigners say that if you speak a little, you're okay. If you speak quite a lot, you kind of slip into a different bracket where most Japanese feel that you are fairly fluent, and then they expect the whole cultural package as well.
They do. That's partially that. Well, to an extent, that's correct. It just depends on who you're dealing with. If you deal with people you know and they know you, then it's pretty easy to isolate. But if you meet new people and they think you're fluent, they will expect you to have some better control of, like, Keigo or cultural things.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I had a Chinese, well, he's Australian, but basically Chinese, and wow, I don't want to dirty the work camera. So basically, he told me because of his face, well, he said to me several times, at least you're white, which I thought funny. And he said whenever he walks into a store, they always speak Japanese with him. And that was like his first 6 months. And when I walk into a store, they're just worried that they don't know what to say. So I guess it makes it easier in a way, but he really had the motivation. So yeah, let us try to stop the video here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for having a look. I will link his channel in the description. I also think that he did a video by himself on the way here. I will link that as well. You should check out his channel. Riding Japan out. See you on another one.
Bye guys.
Ah, I know that. Let's go here. I know this. I know where I am. Haha. Let's turn this shit off. And I need to at least drink something. Oh. And take a piss. And
I'm going to reposition a little bit.